be back up in a moment. We're pretty much back up, so it's just gonna be the delay now. All right, so people, we're back. Just so you know, I did not change a single setting, and yet suddenly, magically, there was sound. And yeah, last time it was like Windows. Then before that, it was probably me. This time I thought it was gonna be me, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. So where were we, Dom? We were talking about, before we were so rudely interrupted by OBS, we were talking about neutral.
In case said let there be sound. So yeah.
And it was so.
I guess we can start from the beginning again. Your question was...
Mostly just, my question was, how would you describe it?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, neutral as pretty much as you describe it, as the basic core concept, where neither player is at an advantage, and it's on you to try to make the advantageous situation for yourself. No matter how you like to do that, and regarding how you like to play against the other person, you set your neutral up for your success, and then from that you carry on and win.
And we got a couple more definitive things to talk about later in training mode, but it's basically, like you said, it's movement, spacing, pokes. Counter pokes goes into a little bit more defensive play, but that's pretty much pokes, same deal. And then also reading your opponent, also known as Yomi.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, we like to first do some beginner matches to see what you guys, where you guys are at, and what we can do to help you in interviews after the fact. So we are going to get started with, I would like to have Zaid and Klexyoshi. Let's start with Zaid and Klexyoshi. We do not have Rich Jammer here today. Usually he sets these matches up ahead of time. But we're going to just call it on the fly. Also want to thank Robert for joining us down there, Robert Girk. I think he's a newer player. So go ahead and make sure you spectate, Dom.
Yeah, I got, it was this guy, right?
Yeah, either Zaid or Klexyoshi. It's fine.
Alright, I got Zaid.
Cool.
Perfect. So I guess what'll kind of happen is we'll do like a commentary on top of it, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about the choices that both players make in regarding to how that evaluates what they're doing in neutral.
Yeah,
The thing about neutral is that a lot of it is mental. So this can't be a thing where it's a direct piece of advice like, oh, you should use this at this distance or this in this distance. It's way more about the result you want for what you have planned for it, like if you were playing chess. The opening is the most important part in chess.
And the opening in chess, never mind. I had some smart remark based on the white screen, and I was going to talk about white pieces in chess, and it wasn't going to work out. Anyways,
all right.
That 2C opener, not too bad for Velvet's round start, although against Paprika, could have been stuffed by some of her round start options.
So already, in like 5 seconds, Velvet's pushed herself into a corner, which isn't that big of a deal.
Right, but she's not blocking, so it gets hit by the teleport C.
Right. Because at this moment, there's no neutral. It's Yoshi holding the Velvet player in the corner here.
Yeah, it's all advantage.
And when it comes to skill level or anything like that, anyone can comprehend the idea of neutral and just keeping someone in a position that you like for them to be in, that's favorable for you. You don't have to be great at a game to understand that concept, and you definitely don't have to be great at it to apply it.
At the same time, in that situation, Klexyoshi over there missed with the launcher, but there was no whiff punish, so... Alright, first round goes to Klexyoshi. Like you said, he gained the advantage with Velvet in the corner very quickly, limiting the options of movement for Zaid as Velvet.
And there, at the beginning of the match, Zaid choosing to back up, which is fine. Backing up is something that's really common in pretty much every game. Usually both players concede to back up because they don't want to get hit by a post-aggressive action, like a really aggressive play from the beginning. So you backing up is fine if you have the resources to take back the space.
Yeah, and also the space to back up into, because at the round start you have space to move, but if you continuously backdash, which, don't get me wrong, I will sometimes continuously backdash, but it's not recommended to do it over and over again.
Yeah, unless you're doing it with purpose.
Yeah.
A lot of it is whatever you're planning to set up to do.
This time a good block on the teleport C, but no conversion. Only a couple of jabs.
See buttons poking, a little bit of neutral.
Yep, and obviously Zayd is new to the game, not sure of their combos as Velvet just yet, but was getting a few pokes in. And not
I mean,
the string.
You have to watch all of these matches thinking about what they would be like at, you know, their highest level in the future. And with the neutral adjustments or any sort of adjustments that they'd make towards their character and getting better, most of the matches that you're watching here would be over in 10-20 seconds as they optimize more and more as players. So the thing about the format that we're kind of doing here, where we have people
real
play.
Quick, I want to say, speaking of the format, we're keeping it 2 out of 3, so go ahead and make sure to spectate again, and get over here if you're not, Dom, because we're gonna end up.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
There, you made it. Yeah, so I like to do 2 out of 3.
I did not make it. What?
Oh, you didn't?
Oh no, I didn't make it in because of the 5 spectator thingy.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about that.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I've never. I guess, yeah. All right, so please.
I can talk more about neutral. While
please, I'll make a few calls on the play, and I will try not to interrupt you. But please do not cram the spectator. You can watch alongside on stream.
Yeah, I'll watch the stream and I'll make comments on things here, but I'll talk more broadly about neutral and how the rest of it goes into the things that people do.
Starting off with a 5B is not too bad of an option for Paprika, but it's not going to hit at round start. It's too far away.
I mean, it can counter poke if they choose to also press a button.
Yeah, if they choose to press a button or come in.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that you could be doing regarding round start. If you want to be aggressive, if you're choosing to play aggressive, depending on how you want to open the match, if you're choosing to back up and try to set up your stuff, depending on your play style also dictates the way you play neutral.
Right, and considering the characters too, it's both a combination of individual playstyle and characters. And with these characters, you might expect a Velvet at round start to back up. So again, talking about just that 5B choice, it would work if you know that the opponent and character is going to do something aggressive inward. But if, say, they decide to round start Shatter A, you're just going to eat it.
Yeah, and then you a lot of neutral too is taking that risk reward evaluation where I start the round with Paprika 5B. Okay, if you choose to Shatter A, you're anticipating that I'll be doing something that Shatter is even going to hit. If I jump at all, you're going to get hit.
Right, that's a risky move to start off round start, of course. But
yeah.
I was just saying, it's a risky, it's like you said, risk reward. It's based on what you think the opponent's going to do, and if you do get that risky move, then you're going to get that hard knockdown situation. There's that round start with Shatter A, and this time it didn't work out because I believe that was a cartwheel C in from Zayd or from Yoshi.
Yep. So the C managed to beat it out there.
Yep.
A little bit later, and you probably would have gotten hit by that, taking a boatload of damage. So icicles, cartwheel A. Little poking here and there, this is good.
Alright,
blocks
so
on t-shirt, buttons.
Yeah, a couple of pokes on the whiff launcher again, but no conversion. At this point in the game, like you can definitely learn a lot from learning where to be and where to move, but you also need to know at least a basic damage conversion to put them into a hard knockdown or some sort of knockdown scenario.
Right. The structure that you usually follow, at least for success when it comes to fighting games like this, is you don't need an optimized combo to be really good, honestly. You just want to set it up to something that you're comfortable with, that you keep your control. The control is the most important aspect by far. You could beat someone with 2 buttons if you're good enough. You don't even need full combos. If they never get started, then you win. It's just how that works. And it's on them to get out of a bad situation. So as long as you put them into that situation over and over again, you don't have to work so hard. It's always on them to pull back in the tug of war, right? Because once you start to lose a tug of war, then you lose your grounding, and then you lose tug of war. That's just how it works.
All right, I want to say thanks to Zayd and Collects Yoshi. We lost Zayd. I hope they didn't.
Zayd?
Yeah, well, I hope we see them again in a moment. It's going to be Robert Gherkin Soul Hunger, by the way, so go ahead and get in there.
Soul Hunger. Let me get in there now. There we go. Yeah. Finally.
Yeah, sorry. Usually we'd have somebody telling us the matches ahead of time. I'm kind of just throwing them out there.
That's fine.
Soul Hunger, also known as Astral Mouse in the Fighting Fanatics community, is a Velvet player. Robert is new, so I'm not entirely sure who they play. Yeah, hopefully we'll see Zayd again in a moment. But we'll be able to talk to them a little bit more about some of the basics that they'll need to grasp first. And I didn't actually catch what you were saying about the natural progression, but I'm assuming basically the natural progression was have a basic understanding of character moves, have a reliable damage conversion,
right,
and then go from there.
And then having a result afterwards that you're comfortable with as a player.
Yep.
Because the damage you're getting whenever you hit someone isn't as important as what comes afterward, because the combos you're doing and the positioning that you're putting people in should be fairly autonomous. And when both players are good enough, they force each other to break that autonomous thought. It stops it from autopiloting. And the best matches are when both of you are not.
I like it. I like it. We usually just refer to that as autopiloting, but I like autonomous thought.
I had to think about the word.
Autonomous thought doesn't even make sense because that's a good thing. You don't want someone else doing your thinking for you. Anyways, so right now Soul Hunger has managed to keep the lead. They've done a couple of unsafe icicles with Robert in position to punish, but Robert was not quick enough on like an air dash JC or whatever.
It's really risky to try to fight icicles sometimes.
Right,
so,
right, but at a certain range, we were talking a little bit earlier just between ourselves about spheres of influence, and with or not Arizona, but Tianhuo in the air at mid screen, like a little bit closer than mid screen. That's a dangerous place for her to be because one air dash in, she's in, and if you try to summon an icicle, you're just gonna eat it.
Right, and then in regards to neutral, when it comes to Tian, her sphere of influence is so big. When you play neutral with this character, she has all the tools she needs to bypass neutral and play neutral. So
yeah,
it's rough to go in both ways. I do like what Robert's doing when he's playing on the ground. He's playing a little bit more grounded, and he's going for really low IADs, instant air dashes, to check Soul Hunger, but he's letting him out of the corner too easily is one big thing.
Yeah, and we saw right there another IAD into JC. IAD, of course, being instant air dash. And in this game, there's not really an instant air dash button, or a way to macro it. You pretty much just have to double tap. Correct? There's no macro for that. You can't.
Well, the traditional way is to do 9-6, 9-6-6.
Yeah, right.
And that buffers the input. But yeah, I mean, I've always box jumps, but
I'm saying you don't have a way to in some fighting games two button presses in the air, like two punches, will give you a dash input. Whereas in this game, you must use directional commands.
Yeah, like Marvel 3 Plink dashing and all of that stuff. Which this game would be great with, by the way. 2-button dashes, gimme gimme.
Zayd UK, I just took a look at the Twitch chat now. Zayd UK says, I think you should try Aerie instead. Easier to learn some basics. I will say that the Velvet is an intermediate to advanced character to learn if she's your first character. Aerie 2, though, Aerie 2, Aerie is definitely a little bit easier to learn some basics with. But you also have to learn a little bit of a read game with Arizona. So Arizona and Oleander are typically the ones thrown out as the easiest to learn. What would you say about that?
Well, okay, I have kind of an unpopular opinion on beginner characters, because in any fighting game you can pick, there's always someone who's been playing that beginner character for a super long time. And Daigo playing Ryu, all the way since ST.
Right, it suddenly becomes his level becomes not a beginner at all, yeah.
Right, and you have entry level, everyone's first baby character, maybe in Tekken. Everyone played Eddie if they've ever played Tekken when they were a kid.
Yeah, I think I played Eddie.
Or in this game, if you play the beginning characters like Oleander or Arizona to try to teach yourself the basics, I don't think that you get any better faster when it comes to grasping fundamentals, because you could just be doing the fundamental things with the character you like. And that's how I've felt about it. If there's a character you like, you should be playing them. And from there, you can learn what you like to do with the character. And then you learn fundamentals regarding revolving around the character you enjoy.
Actually,
because then you have to learn how to play a whole different character.
Well, speaking of Arizona, right now, I saw a couple of good stomp punishes on it was like a stomp tech chase on Soul Hunger / Astral Mouse a little while ago. Yeah. So there's been some good things right there. That stomp was a little unsafe. Soul Hunger not really doing anything.
From watching Robert play, I get the impression that he's a very smart player. Like, he has a lot of ideas, and none of them are bad. They just have to be better refined. He's got really good ideas from what I've seen.
And right now, actually, Soul is actually making a good decision. And this is one of those cases where he was just backing away, but he noticed, he may have noticed just how low Robert's life was, and that chip out was an option. And it's the option he took, and it got him the round.
Right. And then a lot of the reason Robert's actually losing these matches too is because Soul is pressing buttons in the mid-range to try to stop him from starting his aggressive approaches.
And we all know that Velvet has some pretty long buttons, some good counter pokes and stuff. He is 5C'ing way too much. A lot of 5Cs are missing the mark, and he's just not getting punished on a lot of them.
Oh, nice headbutt. And then, as neutral pertains to each of these characters, it's all kind of hard to talk about while watching at the same time. But,
right. The topic. See, and that's the thing. Like when we do the matches, we tend to talk more about the match and more about the topic later. But we try to interlay the topic into the match. It's hard because this topic is not the easiest to talk about. But
it's hard because
another 5C.
It's a lot of recommended.
So just for you Velvets out there that are trying to understand how to use that move, you kind of need to know that the opponent is going to be rushing at you from a distance where they're running and not ducking. Because
it's a very good move.
It's a good move. It's just a big and risky move.
It's a very good move where you have absolutely no reason to use it over 2C. Honestly. Yes. 2C is better in almost every way.
2C with the exception of range, and the position, 5C does advance you. 2C is your better poke. It does almost everything 5C does. It actually keeps them up in the air longer too if it hits. If they happen.
It high crushes.
Yeah, and it has like an anti-air hitbox on it. It ducks under Oleander's projectiles.
I don't know why, but it does.
Okay, all right. So let's figure out who's gonna fight next. I think we may do one more fight, and then we might do some discussions.
Well, they're at 1-1. Are we running 2 out of 3, or are we just doing 2 matches?
No, we are doing. Thanks, guys. My bad.
Okay.
I was. Oops.
Wondering what you guys are doing. Okay, cool.
There we go. I was spectating you for a moment. Sorry about that.
So right now, when we're doing these matches, be thinking about, this is for like the chat and everyone in the chat. Like, think about things that you want answers to regarding neutral, because like I explained, neutral is a very theoretical thing, and it's very mentality based, and it's very dependent on what you want to do as a player, and it's the conversation that you have with the other player regarding the choices that you're both making. So it's hard to give neutral advice with no questions yet.
Yeah.
So be thinking about valuable ones that you would like to hear, because you'll need those. It's very hard to give direct input on how people should change up their neutral without a long time set or asking questions.
Yeah, so that'll apply to any of the people who have fought so far when we bring you into the Discord chat and we talk to you in a little bit. And Zayd also says, I think I like Ollie and Velvet the most, and that seems to indicate, although you're a newer player, that would seem to indicate you would prefer to use a projectile based gameplay, which is good. I like it too. I like projectile based gameplay. But anyways, right now, so Robert Girk just kind of does a firecracker right over Soul Hunger's head.
And I like how Soul is controlling kind of what's going on, or at least he's making an effort to. It's very conscious in his head that he has a plan that he wants Robert to fall for, kind of. Which just gets better over time, right? The better he gets at playing, his mindset doesn't really change. He's still doing what he likes, but he just gets more damage every time, and his spacing gets tighter.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
The spacing.
He also tried to get out of the corner there too.
Spacing will come with time on that kind of thing. Yeah, just not enough blocking there to block that bash after the tech.
You have much to learn.
Actually, that's the one thing I'm noticing right now is Soul is doing a lot of things. Sometimes I think too much. You definitely need to not be too, because I'm a more passive player, but that'll also get me in trouble a lot. That'll get me pushed to the corner.
Right. I honestly think Soul is doing just the right amount of movement, and it would be further refined thinking more about what Tian is doing and what Tian's capable of, and what Robert is doing at this point in time. Because Robert's been going in every match.
His movement is not bad. It's
not at all.
It's the buttons that sometimes it's just too many buttons.
Yeah, Robert's making a very conscious effort to stay very close, which is not a bad deal at all. It's just he's not trying to win the neutral first and then reaping the reward.
Chaotic Spark asks, how often does something need to happen for you to change your game plan in your personal opinion?
2 times. There's something in fighting games where it's a rule of thirds, where people will do the same mix-up on you twice and then they'll vary it their time. It's actually pretty commonplace that happens as a standpoint, and then Yomi kicks in, and then people start to change the timings and stuff like that.
And
so,
just since we haven't actually said what Yomi is the mind game. It's basically the layers of what you think your opponent is going to do to counter what you're going to do to counter what they're going to do.
Right.
Or it's the layers of you trying to counter them and vice versa.
That's fun. So yeah, then the Yomi kicks in when you're thinking about what they're doing, and then when you win neutral, then they have to adapt to what's going on, and then changing your play style because something bad is happening. Better players anticipate you making the change, which is why better players stand in certain positions so that they hold their lead better, because good players know how to hold a lead, and that's the most important thing, is knowing how to hold a lead and when to take risks when you have life as a resource.
And Soul, speaking of the lead, Robert did definitely have it, but he dropped his super, and Soul was able to punish with his own. Unfortunately, the raw super, as much damage as it does, did not have enough meter to capitalize and turn it into like a level 2, very, very high advantage situation. And Robert comes away with the match.
It's over now.
Yeah. Honestly, I think both of those guys are really good. It's just minor optimizations of controls and tightening things up, and they wouldn't look that much different from anyone else that they've probably heard of.
And maybe some different choices on on grounded combo strings. Soul. Don't end with 5C, end with 2C.
Yeah, very little things. Very, very little adjustments.
That's actually a very small adjustment that you will be able to fix with enough focus, enough people telling you to stop doing it.
Right.
Let's see. Gabe is in training. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Verde is. I don't know if I don't know if they got like really low ping to me. So.
Well, you said you wanted to do some question stuff in between, right?
Let's go ahead and get people in for questions. So the first pair of people was Zaid. Now, Zaid, are you still in chat? Because you were. I like that Ollie has lots of options, not just her projectiles. Yes, and her disjointing moves. Yeah, she does have a lot of big moves. She has some mix-up movement. That the mix-ups do cost resources, and they are punishable if you have the reaction time, or if you have the read. If you have the read, it's even better. And I don't mean her read; I mean your read on their movement. But he does not seem to be in. So, let's see. You know what? Let's get Astral and Robert. Can you guys come to the Fightin Fanatics chat, and we will in the voice channels. Just go to General, and we will pull you into FF Stream. I will pull you into FF Stream, and then we will discuss. So while we're waiting for them, let's see. We're not going to do another match just yet. Astral's here. Robert's here. And Klex, we will bring you in after these two. So,
because this is the best way to kind of learn having the direct questions answered for people so they can make the steps that they want themselves to get better, because it's hard when someone's telling you how to play. A lot of people don't receive that well because it builds on their play style. And sometimes it's a struggle, and then they don't build on the things that you're telling them because they don't like to do that.
Yeah.
So it's important that people learn how to play the characters they like the way they do and give them the theory so that they can take that
So let's talk to some of those people right now. What's up, Astro? What's up, Robert?
Hey.
Hello.
Hello, both of you. Let's start first with Astral. Astral, what did you think about your choices and stuff in the match, and what questions do you have?
I know I made a lot of like bad choices. Like I don't know. I kind of like if I get a hit with a jab or something, then I kind of like just start trying to string it into like 5B and then 5C, and then
So that's
and
not,
then
that's
they'll
not
be
a
blocking.
bad choice to try to string into
No.
combos.
Yeah, no, it would be fine, but I think there's something wrong with my timing or something, because a lot of times they end up just starting to block midway through. So I need to, like,
usually that's with 5B. If you're canceling 5B too early, you're not getting the second hit. And if you don't get the second hit, they will 100% be able to block or duck, or like I think in most cases they have enough time to duck. And if you 5C, they're not even gonna block it. You're gonna whiff. So instead, the only small change you would need to make in that sense is stop doing 5B and just start doing 2B into 2C. You will.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will.
That's a good idea.
You will find so much more out of that.
I know I see 2B used a lot, like even as an anti-air. Like I know it's really good.
It's an insanely good button. It is absolutely insane.
It's probably her
I
best
did use it
normal
a couple times. I did use it a couple times successfully, I know this, but
when you start
another
using
mistake
it more. Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say another mistake I make a lot is like when I like automatically want to string into a launcher, and then like and if they're blocking by the time I get there, then it's just punish land that I've entered.
Yep, that's a common one. That's an autopilot mistake that you'll be able to get rid of eventually. We'll have some. We'll get you to ask some questions in a moment. Robert, what do you think?
What do I think? Yes. I don't know. What do I think? What do you want to know?
Well, we want to know. We want to know what you thought about how you approached the Velvet match with Astral. How you approached his play style, or how you approached the character, and what you think you could have done better, or what you like. What questions you have for us?
Well, I usually try to really get into the match, to kind of push her into the corner and get my combos going. Mm-hmm. Usually I try to keep the pressure up even if they tag out of my combo or I drop them. But sometimes the thing that I mess up most of the time is either I'm missing the timing on 236A to get the ground bounce on T-Now, or I mess something up and the other player is able to tag out, then backdashes 2 times and is able to punish me because I always try to get back in directly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he establishes enough space, and your first instinct is to immediately get back in, and that did seem to be your first instinct, which is good. But if you do it recklessly, like with the first thing you do is an air dash, it's possible you're going to run into an icicle if you're at further than mid screen. It's possible you run into a big normal. He was liking to use 5C a lot. You might run into that. Dom, what's your take?
I'm trying to think about it more in regards to neutral, right? And setting up the favorable situation where both the players are comfortable. So I'm thinking about their mistakes pertaining more towards the neutral, because all the executional mistakes that they've made, or things like
right, that's beginner stuff. It's just something that will go away over time. Yeah, that
just goes away. But between both of you, when it comes to your neutral and the decision making that you're both trying to make, both of you were playing with purpose, which was the most important part. Like I know Robert was definitely going to move forward because he did it every time. And when he did get hits, honestly, with better damage and more ironing out, Soul should have lost that pretty cleanly, honestly. Mm-hmm. And in regards to how that plays back and forth in the choices that they make with their characters, I think that both of you need to wait a little more and see what's going on. Especially for Robert, because Robert's playstyle really depends on people thinking he's going to move. And for how aggressive he is, if he were to just stop and hold people in a bad position, that's a lot of stress. And stress is a big part about when you put someone in a bad situation, especially when you win neutral.
Speaking of Tianhuo and putting players under stress, what do you think about the option to just get high? Like, I regret that immediately. What do you think about her option to go high into the air and then just kind of make you guess which way she's going to come down, because she has that faster descent speed. I see a lot of TNs do that. I think that is actually a good way to make them put the onus on them to be like, uh-oh.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely insane because you can't reliably anti-air Tiana if she's flying around. That's why I give up the space if she's flying high above my head and she has magic, because she's probably going to flip, or maybe she'll air dash, or maybe she won't. Either way, I'm choosing to move out of the forward sphere of influence if there is a flip, because I will take way more damage on average, maybe get crossed up. Whereas if I 6A, so if we're Oleander in this case, 6A doesn't have a lot of hits done. So taking all that into account, the amount of damage I get for a 6A anti-air compared to her maybe hitting me with a cross-up, maybe not cross-up JC,
yeah, the risk
it's definitely not worth it at all.
Yeah.
So I surrender the space often. Stuff like that is what you want to think about when you're abusing your characters. Is the first thing you should be thinking, how to abuse your character. And then the second thing you should be thinking is how to abuse the other player.
How can I make the other person think this character is broken and want to quit?
That's really it.
Hey, Astral,
that's really it.
Do you have any other questions? We're going to switch to Klex and Zaid.
Actually, I was kind of wondering, is it wrong to say that like a match like Tianhuo versus Velvet has like less neutral than a lot of other matchups, just because like you get so much like pressure from her, so there's like less time spent where you feel safe.
Well, we were kind of talking about Tiana a moment ago, how she has the ability to bypass it with some of her magic and movement options. That's the real problem.
Yeah, the matchup dynamic when it comes to specifically like Tianhuo Velvet, the reason why Tian is kind of annoying to deal with is because she can choose to not interact with every character besides really just Velvet when she gets magic. Snowflakes are the only thing that really stop Tian from flying around and punish her really hard, because she comes all the way down to the ground, and if you're fast enough, then you get a full damage combo.
Yeah, Snowflakes have ridiculous amount of hit stun. Like 1D's hit stun is ginormous. 2D
so
as well.
Definitely pick them up.
Yeah, you can absolutely pick them up.
But it is not wrong to say that some matchups do have less neutral going on, just because of things that a character can do to bypass neutral. But that's also a very player-dependent thing, because you could be fighting a Tian who was not as aggressive and more passive, sticks to the ground, and utilizes her good pokes. And then it's a completely different evaluation of how the neutral works, where you would probably be pushed to the corner, because Tian also has pretty good neutral buttons too.
I'm sure Dom was saying some great stuff, but I was looking at the chat after my flub earlier. Yeah, that's funny. All right, guys, thanks for coming into to the stream chat. Astro, Robert, thank both of you for playing. We'll depending on who's here, we may have you play again later after we go into training mode. But for now, we're going to ask you to head out, and we will get Klex and Zaid in here next.
All right, thanks.
See ya.
The duckies? The ducks.
I don't. Ducks? Oh my god, there's so many.
Howdy.
Don't feed them. Hello. Don't feed the ducks. Well,
hello.
Welcome, Klex and Zaid.
Well, thank you.
Zaid.
Hey, Zaid, you're very quiet, Zaid.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear you. You're welcome, question mark. All right, well then in that case, we're going to start with Klex.
Hello?
That's better. That's better.
I just pushed the mic closer.
Yeah, that's much better. Wow.
That sounds like 100 times better. Klex, we'll start with you. Same questions, which is really not much of a question. It's just what questions do you have for us, or what did you think you did well?
I think I kept being fairly unpredictable in partitioning my charges fairly well. There was a couple times I dropped and just like threw out like 2B or something.
And you were meaning to have one of your cartwheels come out?
Either bouquet or like B teleport, because that usually like mixes people up, gets them crossed up and stuff. I was mainly trying to focus on poking with 5B and JC. And
yeah, we commented on that at round start, that you threw out 5B as a poke, and against a more aggressive player, that would have been a pretty good move.
Yeah.
but Zayd chose to not to kind of just stand there at the beginning of the round.
Yeah, I caught that, and then otherwise, a lot of my stuff is like executional stuff. Like it like a question I have is like, is it okay to like whiff normals that move the character around just as like a spacing tool?
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing, well, it's not as big in this game when it comes to characters moving around to use as a spacing tool. But for Paprika, she is one of the characters where you can use teleport to kind of adjust yourself, and it puts stress on the other player because they don't know which teleport's coming, so you can fake them out and adjust yourself at the same time. And you can also do a lot of stuff to kind of check them in places too. But moving yourself around with things like Cartwheel is good in another sense, because that's also at the heart of neutral, is pressing buttons and doing things where you think people will try to end up being.
Yeah, you have to put an active hitbox out there, or else it's going to be free for them to take the space and to try to control it.
Yeah, you do the preventative action so you don't lose the tug of war and you get pushed to the corner. Whereas if they try to push you to the corner, then, you know, you throw a book at them and they fall over or whatever.
Yep.
Ideally, though, you don't want to do it when you know they're blocked. Like the Bouquet and Cartwheel B, they don't really have. They're both punishable, I think, right, on block, but there's not a lot of room to punish them.
Well, A is safe, and then B is
okay. So yeah, B is
B is safe sometimes. If you IB B on the ground, you get jab combo. But Bouquet is not bad. Bouquet is not bad to throw out to try to catch people moving towards you, because Bouquet is actually gigantic.
Yeah,
So,
it is. It's huge.
It's like almost an anti-air, right?
It's gigantic.
Yeah,
like,
they're all gigantic. I love it. I was playing Velvet, but like it's so fun to press buttons as Paprika.
It's one of the things that sometimes we talk about with Paprika. Is she's kind of like, I wouldn't say maybe a counter, but she does pretty well in the Tianhua matchup because she has these gigantic advancing specials. So
yeah, she's got the I've caught a few Tianhos like just throwing out C cartwheel and like just catching them out of the air, or like or a lot of times I'll look for jump-ins and throw C teleport at that, because sometimes people don't chicken block, and if they do, I end up getting horribly mauled. But
yeah, you do. That will happen.
Right. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with adjusting yourself with your moves, as long as you're doing it with purpose of saying, oh, I think he's going to be here, so I'm doing this. If you don't think that, then no, then you're just kind of doing things, which is fine too.
All right, Zayd, let's get some stuff from you. What do you think?
I mean, I think most of my combo enders end in launcher to push away, which I don't think is good for Paprika, because I think maybe against Paprika what you want to do is you want to bait out predictable overheads so you can punish them.
I would say the exact opposite against Paprika, because keeping Paprika in close means that she's eventually going to be able to get some sort of knockdown or mix up on you. That's literally her entire game plan, is to be able to be close and have her t-shirt overhead mix up, her low option, her command grab option.
Yeah, I was gonna say she could just straight up command grab you.
It's the circumstance for characters that have mix-ups like that. You're kind of relieved when they're making you block, because you're not guessing as much. Like if you ever seen Skullgirls gameplay or certain other games where you have long extended block strings where they might end in something safe, you're kind of relieved to see the safe option, or maybe you're relieved to get hit by a low damage low in like any other game, right? Or even in this game, you're kind of relieved to only take a jab punish sometimes, because you don't take that much damage for the amount of risk you just took. So it's okay for some of that stuff to happen, and that all ties back into neutral and your decision making you make on top of that. But when it comes to Paprika, if she's close and she's making me block things, you pick out their habits and you can kind of make yourself safe and get back into the comfort zone. And then you can just wait and do nothing and see what they do, honestly. Most of the time you'll beat them doing that.
Would you still say, though, this is going to be not so much a difference of opinion, but wouldn't you still say that even though like it's kind of a basic thing to say Velvet should keep opponents far away, in this case she does really well with Paprika far away, because, you know, she might teleport in, but that's not going to be too hard to punish. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like Zayd was trying to, or he said he wanted to push the opponent away. I'd say that's, if you can get them full screen, that's the way to go. Correct?
If you want to play the grindy game against Paprika, honestly, there's no reason why Velvet can't keep Paprika close to her and just keep her knocked down. Because it's not like Paprika is going to hit you with any reversal that Velvet can't really deal with. I mean, you can DP if you think that you're going to get hit with, if you think you're going to get hit by Trustfall. You can 2D and cover. You can 2D and cover every single option for any teleport on reaction, and it works the same way with Tianho. They get out of the air.
Yeah, I'll definitely do 2D, like, not randomly, but I'll just every now and then throw out a 2D if I have magic to spare, because it just locks down their teleport option. So
yeah, so you knock down Paprika once as Velvet, and if you have magic, she shouldn't really be getting away unless you let her steal the turn somewhere. And usually Paprikas are going to steal the turn with Teleport C, which you can easily deal with, or sometimes they'll resort to Jab and Cartwheel C, which are both good. But
I got a question for you, Zayd. Because you are a beginner Velvet, how good are you with your Shoryuken / Dragon Punch motions?
I actually don't have a problem with them. My only problem
is good.
Sometimes I do them accidentally when I'm trying to do an icicle.
Ah, yeah. Well, that's still good though that you don't really you feel like when you're trying to do a Dragon Punch, you always get your Dragon Punch, because we were just talking about her magic eruption and how strong that is against Paprika.
Yeah. That's a reason I dropped Velvet, is because I'm not consistent with Dragon Punch motion. I started getting it, like, just labbing it out like a few months ago, but
I just grinded it out.
Yeah, never drop the character you like because of execution. Just play that character. Because execution is something you can always get rid of. You can always get past that.
My biggest issue with Velvet that I keep coming back to is I'm actually still oddly confused about what she wants to do. Even as Oleander, I kind of felt like, because you can still kind of sneakily go in with her, and then you can get the damage of that. I don't really. I guess the idea is you want to hang people as a Velvet on what they do, but from then on, I don't understand what you do from there, really.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Velvet can really afford to do whatever she wants, honestly. Just because she has all the tools that she needs to make people hang themselves at really any range. The fact that she creates innate hesitation from a block string into Eruption, even though it has a gap in between it, it's +2. So if you happen to block this low that also goes into big damage, then you're put into another block string that you have to deal with and hope you don't get hit. Even if there is no low, it's still a lot of pressure that Velvet can put on top of you, while she's also generating more magic and hope that she doesn't get too far away at that point. Depending on the character you're playing and how you deal with zoning, then it will snowball in Velvet's favor. So it's rough.
So
puns. Dom's got puns, everybody.
That was not a pun, but you got it. I actually didn't think about that at all.
I had a feeling you didn't do that intentionally too. What's up?
What should you do if the opponent is hesitating? If you're pressing as Velvet, what should you be doing then? Like if
whatever
you're
you want.
As Velvet.
You have free reign. If someone is scared of you, you can do whatever you want. That's your time to take the bigger risks, because they're not thinking completely straight. Like, when you put someone under pressure, they're going to take risky options. And
they're going to do nothing at all and be too scared to even try to tech a throw or get out of the range of a throw. And a throw is especially good with Velvet for a number of reasons. One, because you have they don't want to hang themselves, so they're gonna, if you put all the projectiles up, they're gonna be like, oh, I should not press anything for a moment. And then that's when you go in, you get a grab, and if you do a forward grab and they're already close to the corner, then bam, you'll straight up have the corner.
Yeah,
so.
And the thing is, it's not like Arizona where if you scare someone, then you can just JC them over and over and over again, and then you can catch them low with lasso if they push block you early and you get read on their habits. But for Velvet, if you put them in that hesitation, you're still grinding them away. And they're trying to think of how to get out of the situation so that they can play the game without taking too much damage. And depending on the fight that they're having, it's, okay, do I push block you and let you zone me now, and you've probably generated about 2 bars of magic. At this point, I can't regress you because you have a DP. So do I want to stay close to you and just deal with push blocks? Do I want to wait for you to end your string and probably shatter AD, and then you choose what to do from there? So pretty much when it gets to that point, Velvet has all of the reins.
I swear to God, you're doing it on purpose. She has all the reins.
Like, can I throw a situation at you from our match and like with some feedback? Because there was a bit where I was like, very confused, and it's very Paprika Velvet matchup.
Yeah, do that. We'll talk about the one situation, and then from there we're gonna go into. I think we're gonna go into training mode. And we're gonna show off, I guess, just some positioning, spacing, stuff like that. All right.
This is gonna be the most important part after this for sure.
Yeah.
So the situation is, I'm at mid range, Paprika's at mid range, and we're both just kind of doing nothing, and I'm kind of unsure what to do. That's not going to get me teleport punished.
Don't move.
Just wait for them to do
something. You can not move. Honestly, not moving is very scary. If someone's at a range that if someone's at a range where they have put you in a bad situation, or in a situation where it's clear you don't know what to do and they stop moving, it's actually terrifying. Which is why it's really smart to do, because usually what ends up happening is people jump.
Sometimes you'll see two players just stand there or like crouch or just do nothing, and they're exactly like he said, exactly that range. I a number of times where Dom and I were pretty much doing the exact same thing in our sets. Now granted, I was tended to be in the corner or close to the corner in a lot of those, but he was still doing nothing, so I had to do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm going to win by timeout. It's completely on Song to move out of the situation.
Yeah.
I know I don't have to do anything, and he's under the pressure. And especially at this point in time, it's like if you ever watch boxing, whenever they do that little hug thing, they're just trying to get some space and get their mental energy back to play, because it's really stressful.
Yeah. I like part of me there is like, okay, I'm holding the charge, but part of me is like, yeah, all right, make the move. And like there's a couple of things I had thought about doing, like maybe start throwing out like fruit or something.
Oh yeah, start trying to do that thing. When you scare people as Paprika, you get an insane amount of momentum to start playing the game. And that's when you start to do fruit stuff, shenanigans, anything like that is where you would run a really, really look at. And there are a lot of Paprika players who really, really thrive on you being afraid of something that they do. And if you don't show complete competency, they break down. Players like Ablaze have problems with crazy Paprikas, but Ablaze will play completely fine against someone who's more calculated. Mayor is a crazy Paprika who does a lot of setup stuff that puts a lot of stress on you, that if you haven't seen a lot of time, you're probably going to get hit.
Nope will do some of that too. Like the better Paprikas in general have some interesting setups, but also some of them also have some good neutral, like Link.
Yeah, a lot of my Paprika comes from like me watching Linkster and like trying to very poorly imitate it.
Watch Mayor if you have a chance, because if you want to move faster and press more buttons, Mayor definitely has the setup stuff, and really that's residual from Skullgirls because it's what he's liked doing his entire time he's been playing fighting games. So it leaks into TFH.
Right.
And it's really more about what you want to do with the character, and then you build on that. Like if you specifically just like to throw potted plants at people, there is nothing wrong with making your entire playstyle around potted plants. If you want to get better, you'll naturally, cut things up a little bit. And hopefully things will work a little better. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with simplifying your playstyle down to, I like this, I'm going to set myself up to do this, and I'm going to hit it. And that's what every player does.
So you should never feel like you have to do something or make a move.
No, there's never a place you should actually be in that's favorable where you feel like you have to move. The only time you want to have to move and you feel that is if you've lost neutral and now this is your punishment. Now you're under the stress.
All right, cool. Then I'm gonna cut this off for you guys' sake and time and whatnot. So thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Remember, this is for you guys. We do try to follow a format and a time frame and everything, but it is still 100% for you guys. So, all right.
All right. The training mode, right?
Yeah. So.
Thank you guys.
No problem. Now at this point, we might actually keep either one of you or bring somebody else in. We want to go into training mode with one of you players, unless Dom specifically wants to go into training mode with me and highlight things with me.
Going around it with you is going to be directly more fruitful to outline the concepts that we've been kind of talking about and the mindset.
All right, then I'm gonna step out then.
All right.
Okay.
All right, peace.
No problem, Yoshi. That was not training mode.
Did I hit did I hit something? Did I hit a try to?
You hit a quick
challenge
match.
it? Oh.
All right, so this is
sorry,
training.
Thanks. I was focusing on I was trying to get them out of the chat, but they could very much do that themselves.
Right. So here we can think. I can show people directly the concepts that are going through my head when I'm playing neutral. That will persist between every character that anyone wants to play. So this isn't something that has to be character specific, and I'm not going to make it character specific. Unless there happen to be any Oleander players that specifically want me to say something, but then I have to say something about every character just to be fair. This is just
it's still true though that different characters are going to have different spheres of influence depending on their resources as well. But they're like if you just consider their normals and their movement that they always have, then and plus the situation will also determine their sphere of influence. So.
Right. Some options are just better than others. So with hitbox viewer on, we will start here, right? Round start neutral. So
can I turn hitbox viewer on from over here?
Yeah, you can.
Let me see.
We have access to all of the training modes.
So how about that? I never really used training mode online too much.
Oof. It's really good to have.
All right. So we have hitbox viewer on.
And you can see my stick and my inputs and stuff like that if you want that. We don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with that. Not unless it gets complicated. All right, so right now this is round start. So we're in a round start situation.
This is the ideal example of true neutral. From here, the decisions you make as a player come down to your playstyle and how you think about things. So
now, both of us actually have the option to hit each other right off the bat. But I would say your 5C is going to beat my 2C and my 5C, correct?
From this situation is skewed in my favor if you choose to fight me.
Yes.
But the thing about it is that my real options to beat you out at round start are 5B as a counter poke, 2C as a slow poke, or micro dash 5A. And that'll catch you trying to backdash too. So you have to deal with really with that. Is really good round opening for Oleander and for a lot of characters actually. It's very good. But
now against some other characters like Arizona with the stubbier limbs, I would consider, and I do consider sometimes, especially since they tend to be aggressive, micro dash 5A myself. But against you, that's very silly because of your own options.
Right.
So
even against against Arizona, she's the one character you want to just micro dash 5A every single time. Because if you back up, you're in lasso range.
I'm glad that I know. I'm glad that my decision to do that is a good choice because that is one of my decisions against Arizona a lot. Not all the time, obviously, but a lot. The very first time I played Arizona, I've never played before. I will probably micro dash 5A.
Yeah, do it every time because Arizona can't deal with it at round start. Because if you backdash, you're in optimal stop range and optimal lasso range. There's no reason to do that. So you might as well put Arizona on block.
Unfortunately, a lot of the time I don't have good execution and I round start micro dash 6A. So, anyways,
that happens too. But yeah, so the neutral, right? True neutral at this point. Remember that thing where I said both players choose to back up? So let's just backdash once.
All right.
Okay. So backdashing once puts us both at full screen, and depending on the type of player you are and how much knowledge you have in the matchup, and if you know, if you're consciously thinking about how you want to play this matchup and what you're doing, you're evaluating if this is a good or bad idea depending on the person you're playing. If you're a player-by-player type of player, like you make adjustments specifically for Song, or specifically for Heat, or specifically for Bubble, or whatever.
Which can be good. It's very strong to be able to do that.
Yeah, you need to be able to play player versus player. That's the biggest single adjustment you can make if you're trying to go from intermediate to a higher level player, is being able to adjust to what people are doing. That's the single biggest adjustment you can make, because
intermediate basically you'll start learning matchup by matchup, but then you know, the variety comes in the spice of how players play the matchup and how they play their characters, so it's necessary.
Yeah, being able to adapt to any of the players is ridiculously important, and knowing when people are scared is also really important, which is kind of what neutral lets you do. So it lets you put people in scary situations. So we both choose the backup, right? Yeah, if I choose the backup the situation, and you give me the space at round start as Velvet specifically in the situation,
that's a free read for you. That's basically
this is free read, and I have to do this because if I don't do this, once Velvet has 1 bar of magic, I can't fireball her anymore. Velvet also has the ability to beat TK fireballs with eruption on reaction, so I can't do that anymore either.
Also, I'm pretty sure like, if you try to ground fireball, I can just like do that, right?
Yeah, you can steal this back whenever you want.
I meant to jump on that one. So...
You don't even have to jump. Just doing it raw is fine. This icicle poop, and then you get it. Yeah, this when you play the fireball game, I'm thinking +1, -1, right? That's the reason I read so much in this matchup because it's the only thing that lets me get other fireballs out on the screen.
Yeah, it's because I can't. My ability to put out instantaneous projectiles versus the magic fireball is not strong enough. And it'll just plow through, so I have to block or try to jump.
Right.
Actually, I can't even jump. Can I jump Magic Fireball?
I mean, in some situations you can, but there's no reason to. You might as well just take the block.
Yeah.
It's more so if I don't get the read in the early round start and you have the magic, then you have control of the matchup here.
Yeah, because then once you don't, you know, I mean, you can't read up there. You know, you can't read down here, or you know, I'll do that instead, but.
It's on me to now move up to mid-range to poke you, because I have to start snowballing some way, because me backing up didn't snowball in the way I would have wanted, so I have to make a different adjustment. But so that was an example of the backing up neutral mentality.
You should choose a different word.
What did I say?
You keep saying snowball. It's like that might confuse people because I'm the Velvet.
Oh, did I say snowball for me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
But anyway,
it was funny at first. Now it's funny in a different way.
Sorry. But so back to the round starting position, right? That was choosing the backup. So if I choose the backup, if you choose the backup, and let's say you don't play Oleander or Velvet, remember that the key thing is that you're backing up for a reason. You should have a reason to be doing this, or else why are you doing it? If you don't know why you're doing it, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. Which is a lot of personal evaluation on how you want to approach characters. Like, there's almost no reason to not microdash 5A Arizonas at round start because they don't have anything to really deal with it. The only circumstances you don't want to do that is if they're anticipating it and they push block that, and then you're in stomp and lasso range anyway, which is the rest of the progression of that. All right, go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just thought of something because they were talking about. I think Klex was talking about before about advancing normals or advancing moves, and talking a little bit about 5C. Yeah, it's risky as hell, but one of the things, it can be kind of a surprise or tricky move. You can say if you want to take that backdash at the beginning, and that backdash is like, all right, you're giving up space. But are you really, you know, if you think that they're going to do an aggressive round start move, but not like super aggressive where they're jumping in at you, if you think they're just going to try to 5C or something, a standing button in close, your backdash is going to keep you safe. And if you see that button, then you can come in and punish it.
Yeah. Velvet has all the tools she needs to counter poke people on the ground as well.
Yeah, she's the counter poke goddess. Like, there's really, I don't think there's anybody in the game that's better than her at it.
Not really, technically, Tian, but
I mean that's a little different because she's not really counter poking. She's just coming in. Like
she can do both. But I guess it's a better time to highlight more about the control aspect of the neutral.
I'm sorry.
So if we're at the round start, right? You're thinking about control and how you can control things. How you can control things for the rest of the match. When I'm backing up at the round start to read against Velvet, I'm not trying to do that to give Velvet space or anything like that, or give myself space. I'm doing that so I can secure the rest of the match and make it easier for me. Because when I have 1 bar of magic, I can start to fireball, fire trap to take back turns, and this inherently pushes Velvet back to the corner. And when I get here, yeah, even if you block this whole situation.
Let's reset the situation.
Sure. Oh, and change it to 1 magic so it's an accurate representation.
Okay.
Level 3 Fellspark's actually not even that good. It's kind of terrible.
Yeah, just turn it to off.
Yeah, just turn it off. That works. Okay.
Right. There's your accurate representation.
There. So, round start. Okay, back up. I read. So from here, if there are only a couple things that Velvet's going to do, really, and let's say that he doesn't have this much magic since I was talking here. I can choose to start throwing the fireballs, right? And if he starts to throw icicles or do anything like that to me, I can check him in between fireballs to control the space better. And that's where things like TK fireballs and other choices that you make come in. And the most important reason that you read now is because Oleander can't ground teleport anymore, is so that you can do stuff like this. And when you do stuff like this, it puts pressure back on the characters like Velvet to make her make mistakes. Because Velvet is really good at making other people make mistakes.
Man, I'm bad at TKs. I'm just practicing. There we go.
It's a lot on Velvet once Oleander actually has red. But if Oleander doesn't have any of this, there's nothing I can really do here that's too scary besides super him on reaction and take 800 damage and maybe call Fred.
Yeah,
from here, I'm not scary at all.
That's more of a later in the match kind of thing where I have the advantage, but I could lose it hard if Fred comes out. Like right. I've been beating him up. He gets the meter, and he's all the way over there. And it's like, yeah, it's free time. I can just do whatever I want. You know.
Yeah, and then I look for habits, and then blast.
Oh no! Oh no!
And that happens a number of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so stuff like that happens, and that's after we've gotten to the part where we're making the initial statement at the start of the match of the true neutral, of saying, I'm Oleander, I'm going to back up and read. And depending on the Velvet you're playing or the person you're playing, if they adapt to what you're doing, then they're saying, hello Oleander, I know you want to back up to read, so I'm not going to let you breathe. Which is how a Blaze likes to play. And from there, it's the rest of the match begins, right? That's a good conversation you're having. When you're fighting anyone in a fighting game, it's a conversation.
Hello, Oleander. Have you met my friend TV?
Yeah, exactly. It's all one big conversation. And it's like, yes, I have, and here's my push block, and now I'm going to shoot you.
Oh,
right,
no.
and then all that stuff happens. And that's really how I think about it. Is because when you put humanity onto it, like the thoughts you're making consciously, it makes it very easy to rationalize the things you're doing. Like, I'm going to stand here because I think he's going to jump. If he jumps, blah, right? Maybe he thinks that I'm going to do that at that range. So delayed 2B. Stuff like that's all neutral. Another thing people don't do in neutral enough is walk. Just walk. Because when you walk, you get to have your micro spacing, where you're throwing out buttons at people. And luckily, Oleander has a fireball that she can move around while she's doing this stuff.
Also, blocking might make it easier to instant block as well. I'm noticing, or like walking, because you're not like, when you're walking, you might probably just tapping the direction. Like say for me, I'm playing on a controller, I'm probably just tapping the direction. Normally, I'm like kind of holding a direction or whatever, which is, it's not really clean inputs or everything. But if I'm just walking around, I'm kind of just tapping it temporarily, and then you know. Oh crap, incoming fireball, block, and I get an instant block. So then I get a not necessarily the advantage, but I get a buff in the situation that I wouldn't have normally.
The instant blocking mechanic in this game is, very liberal, because you can block while dashing forward. So it kind of lets you buffer what you need to IB something while you're moving forward. It makes it easier to do. It's why dashing forward is really good in this game, because you can block. And it's really good because you can do this type of spacing to people.
You know, I've never actually thought about that. I've gotten plenty of dashes in and then just do nothing and block, but I forgot that that's typically not something you get. Most games will punish you, and you will not be in a blockable state when you do a forward dash.
Right. So it's a very good idea to start abusing that as people play neutral more, because when you're pushing someone to the corner, dashing close to them and pushing them back farther, people usually jump away because it's something that they're not ready for.
Hold on.
Whereas,
quick question from the stream is it's already been answered, but Robert asks, can you also block while air dashing as Tianhuo or Palm? And you cannot.
No.
And that's actually it's a punishable action if you can predict it. You know, if you have the tools to punish an air dash, either full screen or mid screen or whatever.
Now you can block if you unfly. And
yeah, if you're in
really
flight,
early.
yeah, if you're in flight, you have the option. Flights have air dashes in them, right? You can be in flight and have air dash, and then if you hit fly again, then you're unfly, and then you can block. So
right, it resets your position. And yeah, you can't block while you're short hopping either. So short hopping in neutral is generally a bad idea. Like if you were Paprika in the sense and you short hopped at me with JC, you're just gonna get hit, honestly. Whereas if I was here, maybe I'm not going to be ready to anti-air you for it because it's actually very scary to try to contest a short hop like that. And if I'm not just hitting buttons, then it's different. A lot of it is putting stress on people.
Is this how you short hop?
But yeah. Oh, so the rewards of neutral. Yeah, the rewards of neutral.
No. Here, go ahead.
Or you even. You even would be fine too. So the rewards of neutral. If you play good neutral, people should end up in the corner. Every time. Because what happens is people surrender space because you're so hard to hit. You either hit them and they get tired of teching toward you and getting thrown or getting set up on hard. So they usually just surrender the space and now they end up in the corner. So now, when you have people in the corner as any character, you want to hold your lead. You don't have to take as many risks, because at this point in time, you've probably taken half their health, you probably have more resources than them, and they're probably kind of scared, because they don't want to lose. So they're going to either just crouch block, or they're going to try desperately to chicken guard, which is just when people up back. For Velvet specifically, they up back a lot, because setting up Icicle is really hard to deal with at this range. But, and it's also really safe. And Velvet can run the grinder here, too.
With Velvet at about that range that he's at, I feel pretty safe to put out at least one, but then going any further than that with Icicles is probably bad. Actually, what would probably be better at this range is a 2D, and that will help me breathe a little bit more. He at least has to deal with that somehow. I didn't have, there's not a lot of recovery on that, so the chances of him punishing that were not too high.
There's a lot of things you could do that I'm not going to be ready for, that I have to work very hard to do to keep you in the corner, to hit you and reap my reward of playing the good neutral to push you here. Using things like 2D, or maybe even you can use 3D from here too to catch me coming down from the back.
Yeah, that's tough. Like
stuff like that is stuff you need to do when you're in a bad position because it's unanticipated.
When you said 3D, did you mean 1D?
Oh yeah, 1D. Sorry.
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I will sometimes use 1D as a coverage while I'm in the corner, because 3D, I'm like, that's not gonna help me out.
But so the rewards of neutral in this position are, they don't have any more space to move back, and because they don't have any more space to move back, they have to deal with things like this. And when this happens, it's not that bad to deal with because of the way push block works in this game. But I'm going to grind you down eventually if I don't make a mistake. So it's on whoever's in the corner to get out of the corner here, no matter how they want to do it. Tians can just fly away from all of this, unfortunately.
And if you decide to push block them, and if you're not really paying attention to when you push block, they will just 100% override it.
Right.
You can push block at the right moments and get a moment of breathing room, but you can't be autopilot on push block at TN.
So when you're playing neutral with whatever character you're playing, you need to be thinking about how... And this is specifically my mindset because this is the way I like to play, but you need to be thinking about how you can make a favorable position for you as a player and how you like to play, so that you can control them and run your game. And if they never get to play their game, then you win, is the method that it should be. Where in this case, specifically for Velvet, just because this is what's on the screen, I want to be exactly here. Because the only thing I really have to deal with is getting DP'd at this range. And from this range... If I get DP'd, I take, like, what? How much is that? Like 150? I don't know.
It's tiny, but
tiny amounts of damage.
There is the possibility, if I have tons of meter, that I could convert. Assuming you don't block, obviously.
Yeah.
Also, that I find I do the way I do input supers a lot. Sometimes I will get the icicle. I will get like the it's so hard.
I mean, getting that is just extra damage too.
No, I'm saying the icicle and the super at the same time. Yeah, all it is really extra damage, but
it's a good thing to do. But
I could have sworn at one moment that there's actually a recording of me getting the accidental icicle C and canceled into the super, but it was on block. I think it was against Ryukusen. They cross-cantered out of the super but then the icicle hit them as the cross canter invulnerability ended.
Yes, that happens. That has also happened to me. But yeah, like I said, from here, there's not a lot Velvet can do in the matchup, so I try to stay here when I have him in the corner. And then at that point, it's a lot of stress on him to decide if he wants to try to actually DP or counter poke me or get hit by that. Or if I'm here, maybe I can do that. Or I sneak free reads and I frame trap him more. And then I close back the distance, etc. Stuff like that. From here is where I really start to play the game, and this is the situation that I want to put almost everyone in.
And honestly, it's a situation that any player should want to put another player in.
Yeah, unless you're playing a game specifically like, well, I'll just use Skullgirls, where some of your best mix-ups are actually going to be mid-screen because of left-right. Whereas I don't care about left-right.
Well, we don't have assists, so we don't have assists or like our own character assists, like heads that come off and stuff like that. I mean, I have like what I mean, like I can do some stuff like with the icicle, but that's not a good example. But you know what I mean. Like you can sometimes get a left-right based on if the opponent's jumping or teching. Like if they tech and you follow it, and then
or you can make a jank left-right with that. Stuff like that.
Left-right.
If your playstyle revolves around that, then you should just be setting up your neutral to give you that reward, and then you win the game from there. That's the entire idea for neutral. Everything else from that point is for other people to kind of decide how they want to play the neutral. Because the preventative nature of neutral is using buttons that move you and control the space that you want to be in while you make more of a struggle for the other person to get to where they want to be. And then if you do it better, then you should be winning. And if you're doing it worse, then you have to make adjustments. It's that simple. And a lot of people think there's more to it, but if you try to build too much on that, then it gets too confusing. It can really just be that simple. What do you want? So you set it up, and then you make conscious decisions. And if you make good ones, then you win. If you make bad ones, then you need to adjust. That's all it is.
So right now everything's like, we've been discussing this in terms, not so much just in terms of Velvet and Oleander, but we've been using them as the medium to talk about. But we can also talk a little bit. We haven't really talked about Palm and Paprika. We were talking about Tianho and Arizona a little bit, but let's maybe talk about Palm and Paprika a little bit.
Sure.
All right. So
I guess we'll just switch to Palm and Paprika.
We'll be them, yeah.
To my flute.
Now, I won't be able to really execute anything, but that's not really the goal of this anyway, so...
Yeah, we'll just need basic buttons, and then a description of how people can practice neutral is something that people are going to definitely want to know. Because that also is important. And then, I don't know if people want to play more, or if they want to play against you or me, or if that's something you want to do.
I will ask afterwards, but we won't spend too much time on this in this next bit. We just wanted to go over some characters we haven't really talked about too much.
Okay.
Who are you gonna be?
I'll take Palm.
Alright, Paprika it is.
Okay. So, regarding Palm's neutral is, well, first off, Palm is the most versatile character in the game. Because you can honestly play Palm in whatever style you want. You can be pretty aggressive if you want. You can be safe if you want and just do this. And people have to kind of respect this. At this point, for Palm, she's one neutral because every character in the game has to deal with Pilot Dog differently because he's there. This isn't neutral anymore.
Yeah, this is advantage state for Palm, and that's one thing that we were talking about before. Is what is neutral? Neutral is not when you have even nothing's happening, but the advantage is there. That dog is the advantage right there.
Yeah, even if this doesn't favor Palm that much, it's a resource on the screen that makes this kind of different. It could be argued to be neutral just because someone's not getting mauled, but this isn't a true. This is not a true state of neutral.
Yeah, it's not.
It changes the decision-making that the other player is going to make because the dog is there. And until the dog is gone, then it's something that is not working out.
Advantage state, disadvantage state, those are things too. So, now with Velvet, I would be thinking, all right, well, I have good movement that's still safe with my slide, so I can be trying to bait out, like I could be kind of sliding into that 2C, and then hopefully he's not gonna, try to or successfully high-low me with the dog, right? So I could be maybe just moving in and then juking away, right? I kind of want him to use that dog, but in the wrong direction.
And this is a good example of playing the neutral when you're in a situation where you have to make a choice. So let's say that was the case where Palm is just kind of poking you with C's and there's a dog above your head. The choices you make here are regarding what you don't want to get hit by the most, and regarding what the other player has done in the situation, and also regarding what you want to have happen. Because you may just want to block all of this to make them use the dog. Depending on the player you're playing, a lot of Palm players use their dogs way too early, instead of just utilizing the fact that this is inherent stress. Just having a dog around near anyone is inherent stress. So you don't have to use it when you're putting someone on block, because they might not retaliate every time because the threat of the dog is always there to stop them at the situation, or because the threat of the dog is there, then they don't want to deal with you poking them, so you just wait. And then they take a risky option, and maybe you throw them, or you press their standing low, or whatever, or you do a slow extended block string, and then you hit them with that, and maybe you back it up with bark and a super, stuff like that. Basically setting up the entire situation. But the way you can play neutral with Palm is really versatile that everyone can understand. You can set up checkmate situations if you want, like this. You can't really approach me on the ground too well, so you're kind of forced to jump. This usually makes people jump, stuff like that. If you want to play more on what people's habits are, you can just do that and then play around that. Neutral turns into one big mind game when you start to get the advantage situation. And when you're not an advantage, it's very stressful. So don't get hit.
Oh, I thought that was like, all right, I'm gonna do some stuff. Don't get hit. No,
no, just try not to.
Try not to get hit. Talking about Paprika's neutral, that's a little bit more difficult. She might be one of the characters that has the hardest time in neutral. I don't want to go like two, because she has tools, but one, I'm not a Paprika main, but two, like, what do you think, Dom?
It's not awful. Paprika's neutral is not bad. The thing about Paprika, namely, is the fact that, well, the reason her neutral aren't bad is because she's one of the few characters in the game with a run. Running is insanely good when it comes to pushing someone to a corner. The fact that you can run and also press a button is insanely good. Paprika has the ability to microspace with running and a very quick low, and the fact that short hop JC is very scary. She's got a pretty okay anti-air. 2B is a very good anti-air from far ranges. It's very good against Tian.
I cannot run into short hop very easily.
Yeah, you can run into short hop to microspace.
I'm trying to, I'm just bad at it. Like, oh man.
She can do all of that stuff. But because of the options other character has, it makes her neutral comparatively bad. But on paper, it's not terrible. She has to work harder than a lot of other characters, I'll say that.
This being poking as far as it does, and then being, what is it, +0 on block? It's a 0 on block, right?
Probably 0, -1, 2. I don't really know what it is.
I'm pretty sure it's +0 now. But that's one tool they gave her, as a lot of people know now. It's buffed from previous iterations of the character. What else does she have? That's
oh yeah. On paper, it's not terrible. Jokes. So, well, I guess that's kind of the bigger neutral overlay when it comes to everything. It's just about picking the situation that you want to set them up with that lets you play the game better than they do, whatever that may be. And that's why it's such a broad concept and hard to kind of demonstrate for character to character. And the way that you may play Paprika is way different from the way I play Paprika. The way I play Paprika is way different from the way Mayor plays Paprika, is way different from the way Linkster plays Paprika, is way different from the way Nope plays Paprika. So we all have different neutral, and because we all have different goals. And whatever your goal is with the character, if you just want to hit buttons, then make your neutral about hitting buttons. You can do that. You can hit buttons better than the other guy, and then you win.
All right. You know, I think we might actually be having a shorter stream today, mostly because a lot of what we've been saying is repeat over what we've already been saying. Now, repetition is super key to learning anything, but just hearing it over and over again can be kind of boring. So I think we should go into some more matches. What do you think?
Yeah, matches are definitely the way that people kind of test their current theory on what they have to play with.
All right, so we're gonna see who's around. If we have some new people, we'll get them in, and if we have some of the people who've already played, we'll have them too. All right, who is available now? Mr. Rain is here. I think they would like a shot. I think they're a little bit more on the intermediate side, intermediate to advanced. Amaron is definitely more on the intermediate to advanced side for sure.
Oh, that would be a good thing to do. I think a good thing to also do would be to play someone who's pretty well versed, so that people can get a highlight of the mindset while things are happening.
Would you like to do Mr. Rain versus Amaron then? Or you mean you? You mean playing?
Well, yeah, either me or you or
Everett's here,
or Ev or Mayor or
Suna.
right, like
Suna's a good TN, so.
Yeah, or any of these guys, right?
Actually, we're kind of down to mostly the better players right now. We got Robert, and I don't know Delone too well. They've been on our streams a couple times, but I cannot remember the character they play. So I would say let's go ahead and do. Some of the people in here I don't think are here for the stream. Let's go ahead and do Mr. Rain versus Amaron first.
Sorry. Rain and Amaron. Because I've played Amaron a lot. I think personally, I think Amaron is the best Oleander, because I think that Amaron plays Oleander the way the character is meant to be played. Despite that I might beat him in sets, despite our record, I think that he plays Oleander the proper way that Oleander should be developed upon.
It's interesting. Sometimes I take these marathon sets against him, and then the next day in tournament he crushes me. So he definitely can get a download too.
Amaron's play is more about reaping the reward of the neutral and setting up his situation. So 2 stocks of magic, page, back up.
Talking about that set, he set up the situation right there with that trap right on his head. Didn't get too much out of it other than control.
Overhead, nice. Pushing him back. Full control is what he's going for.
See, he has more control right now. He's definitely using, and he's not spending all his meter on traps.
Oh, nice mix up.
Yep, definitely got some good mix-ups. So now Mr. Rain advancing. Unfortunately gets caught by the double jumps. It's easy to get crossed up when Oleander's right above you, and she still has her double jump available.
And that was a situation that I don't think Amaron should ever be doing. Amaron lets people out of the corner way too easily, just because of the way his combos end.
And now he's in the corner. He's reading in the corner. That could have been punished. There was no... I think they could have roped. There was no magic options in play. They could have easily ropes punished that read, right?
Yeah, well, Arizona did have 1 magic, so magic headbutt could have happened there too.
Okay, I didn't see if they had that. I was looking at Oleander's magic, my bad.
I did happen to see it. Okay, that was good. So there he's trading positions. Now, either Amaron wanted that specifically, and he had baited Mr. Rain toward the corner so that he could swap positions with him. That's something that you could do. It's all down to playstyle, how you play this neutral. And now the neutral's over, so it's on Mr. Rain to get out of this situation.
Yeah, the moment he's... Now, even while being comboed, there's always the chance that the opponent will mix execute. And that you're relying on them to make a mistake, but mistakes happen, so you got to be holding that button, and then you can bring the situation back in your favor.
And if you've lost neutral, then really good players, you have to count on them making mistakes. And because they know how to control you, and they definitely know how to hold a lead. And luckily we're all human, so we do make mistakes. We all do get hit by overheads. We all get hit by really slow things. It happens to the best of us.
Just say it. Just say what you want to say. We all get hit by Shatter Seed.
We all get hit by Shatter. No, it's not a mix-up, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
All right, we're gonna do another one, guys. So 2 out of 3.
Oh. Right, and this gives more tactile examples about reaping the rewards of practicing more and building on your neutral and having a game plan of the way you like to play.
I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Rain. Mr. Rain actually did come to the BronyCon tournament that we had recently and did pretty well. I think he was top 5. I can't remember for sure. I think Chaotic Spark was up there. I might be wrong about top 5, but I think he was up there.
Dang it. Thanks for going to BronyCon, guys. Did I say B? No, I said Shatter C. You can't fool me.
Shatter B is absolutely not a mix-up.
It's absolutely. Alright, so this is a case where Amaron kind of plays like you, but luckily Oleander can teleport out of the corner.
Yeah, and actually it was almost like that was a bait. His positioning right there, getting Mr. Rain to chase him, and then teleporting right out, and now he's had the advantage.
Right, it's entirely a bait when he does that. So now he's just holding the corner. And obviously, the proper counterplay to someone trying to bait you into the corner is to wait for the teleport.
Yeah,
you can just wait for the teleport.
Because teleports are oh so punishable, and I don't mean that jokingly. They are actually pretty punishable as long as you can read them. The air ones are sometimes it's a little bit tough. A 6A is seems like the right answer, and it is, but you might not be ready for it. Like which side they're going to be on, the input you need. So
I'll be completely honest with you. Air teleport B is insanely broken.
Okay, so good. I was about to say, it's really hard for me to punish air teleport B. I'm trying to be like, you can do it, but it's hard.
It is insanely broken because the character doesn't turn around the moment the teleport happens.
Yeah.
So you can't reliably get the 6A on her.
That's kind of why I sometimes, like, stuff like that, I just start mashing 5A, because Velvet's 5A has that high hitbox. It's pretty good.
Every character can 2B to low profile any early buttons that Olay can do there.
Alright, nice, backing up, expecting the tech in. I don't think they did tech in, but still kept the pressure up. But Miss Rain ended up on the wrong side of a combo anyway.
It's combo. Okay, Fred.
That's a lot of damage, actually.
Yep. So this is where Almiron's electing to stay in a good position. Still using fireballs to check.
Now even in the corner right now, because Oleander has Fred, the corner dynamics changed a little bit. With Oleander being able to be as safe as she wants. Like she did get hit, but it's not quite the same. Like she wants to move into the corner just to keep that space, then that's fine. Now it's a different story.
Yeah.
Luckily gets the magic fireball hit.
Oh, I think that was supposed to be magic headbutt. I hate that. Oh, nice. There you go.
See, and using those magic fireballs to allow herself, like, basically get that extra pressure, extra safety off of just one fireball. Because one fireball isn't going to be enough.
Right there, what Almiron just did was a perfect example of controlling his space. He wanted that exact result. And that's way more around him playing neutral and absorbing way more what Mr. Rain was doing in the situation.
Alright, we got some more good players here. Tailnick's a very strong Tianhuo. What do we want to do?
But Mr. Rain's good. I've never seen Mr. Rain play. He just has that thing where he's too aggressive. And he should just wait more in some circumstances.
Let's see. Do we want to see if Soul Hunger and Robert want to try again? Soul Hunger and or like let's get one of them to try it, and it might not be fair to put them against some of the super strong players.
Well, putting them against the strong players gives them a look into the reality of what better neutral or better play is. There's never a circumstance where you would want, where there's never a circumstance where you don't want lower level players to play.
You want to search out, you do want to search out stronger players. It's true, and that's what I do too. I was about to ask as well, either Momobot or Delone, or really anybody, who would like to play on stream. Let's ask who would like to play on stream. This is a beginner focus today, though. Yes, Delone, and also Momo, maybe. All right, let's get them.
Cool, because this will help make more tactile adjustments.
Now, both
okay,
of these...
who's it? Delone?
I think he's googly eyeing a little bit too hard over there. I don't know if that's a costume.
Wait, who? Delone? Yeah.
Delone versus Mr. Momobot.
Okay, cool. Delone.
Oh, and Robert says, I was participating in the TFH tournament at Galcon. I actually won. That's right. I do remember you saying that. I'm sorry I forgot who you were. I apologize profusely for that. Good stuff for winning Galacon.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I think Engineer was also there too. Engineer is one of our Paprika embracers. Really loves the character and showcase some of the cool stuff there at Galacon.
Paprika embracers. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we actually have a little place for Paprika fans. All right. Good. Oh, we got a place for Velvet fans too. Good punish on that cartwheel C there.
Oh.
No, that's not what you think actually.
What do you think? I was thinking of like Cake, man.
Oh, okay.
Cake is dope. Anyway, look at him roping.
Yeah, he's got a lot of ropes there. Nice. I like that hop in with the JB. JB's a nice big move. One of the few like good range moves that Arizona has.
So they're playing a really sound neutral. This is an example of both players not taking too many risks against each other.
Yep,
I guess I can also.
There's a lot of defense going on in this match.
Yeah, there's a lot of very. Oh no, that sucks.
Yeah, that throw was unfortunately mistimed.
I hate that.
And possibly a missed input, but probably just mistimed.
Yep.
Alright, get the soft knockdown, no effective chase on that tech out.
Still getting hit by the t-shirt. I don't blame him. T-shirt is kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta... if you can push block that first or second hit, then you might be golden though.
Got him.
See, with the Magic Stomp, I feel like the goal is to trap them while they're jumping. Because like, unless you're Oleander or Tianhuo or Palm, you know, you have a defined jump arc returning to the ground, so you can easily trap them into being caught by that Magic Stomp.
That and just when people are super scared, yeah.
Yeah, if they're just locked into blocking and they're not going to do anything, yeah, sure.
It'll hit me, I'll be honest. So I guess I can tie more into the cons of being more of a neutral-based player, is that inherently...
You get scared, yeah.
Either scared or, because remember, you're kind of conceding to play more passively inherently, but it's not defensive. It's more like, okay, go ahead. And, I'm going to do this thing also, and, I might win if I've done enough evaluation of what's going on.
Right there, Damone actually gained control of the situation by just standing and waiting for Arizona's approach. The Arizona used I think it was a light headbutt, and it just completely whiffed high as they were crouching. So.
I also like what Momobot's doing here. He's backing up in a position where Paprika can't get out of the corner. Like every time he's not certain, he's backing up to keep his positioning, which is
backing up out of the range of the normals and capable of using their magic options like magic headbutt if they need to.
Yeah, that is very fine to do. Don't be afraid to give up space if it's an investment for the future of the match.
All right, thanks for coming out, Suno. We appreciate it. Spaghetti Cheese, also known as Suno Derp.
Thanks, Spaghetti. You're my best buddy. I like Spaghetti.
I never know what to call some of these players who have multiple different names between Twitch and FF.
I still call him Spaghetti.
Yeah, I think most people do actually call him Spaghetti.
I still put Spaghetti.
And looking at this, quite a life lead here. We'll see what they try to do to close out the match. Not quite in chip range just yet, getting there. Paprika does have some chip options with that potted plant and super. Potted plant to super. Now they didn't have meter for that, but potted plant to super is pretty strong chip.
Yeah, it's very strong, and it gets
shit mixed up.
Yeah, and it lets you play.
Yep.
Very good. It's something that a lot of people like to do. They like to brute force the mix up. They don't want to play neutral. Okay. Then if they let you bypass neutral, then that's also your fault. Which is also some of the cons of being a more defensive player, is that you let players set up favorable situations on you if you're not quick to stop them.
Now, granted, there are some mix-ups that are so favored.
Oh crap! I didn't No.
No. Yeah.
I forgot again.
Welcome to streaming.
I forgot again.
It's all right. We all forget sometimes.
Dang it. Well, I guess I'll take Lances
Mm-hmm.
at the stream to see what's going on and talk more about neutral.
All right, so they both actually backed up at the beginning. Delone jumped away, and Mr. Momobot just walked backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Mr.
good.
Momobot gets the advantage with a throw and punishes the teleport B.
I like how Momobot sticks to the ground. Sticking to the ground is part of good neutral, traditionally, because when you jump, you're vulnerable. Or in anime games, even where you have the ability to chicken block in the air. It's still not a position you want to really be in because you don't have access to, let's say your game has guard canceling or dead angle or cross
especially
cancer.
in this game, cross canter, you have no access to cross canter. I've been learning that recently. Is that when I chicken block as much as I used to, I could not use the very powerful cross canter, and also you could get hit on pre-jump frames. So
Right, and that's not a gigantic deal because there are no air unblockable moves in this game yet. But
there are some things that you can get yourself, like Tianhuo command grab setup that can get you messed up.
Yeah, and in some cases you're actually fine to take that. Sometimes you want that to happen.
Mm-hmm. It does it allows you to reset the situation because isn't that a soft knockdown? No, it's not. It's not a soft knockdown if it's raw, but it's a soft knockdown at a high JD.
Yeah, it's hard after the tech drop. But you take such a minuscule amount of damage compared to getting
Nice
reset.
Right, punishes the
sometimes it's
2C there.
I do like how Momobot plays. It's very deliberate. I feel purpose in the things he's pressing. And it's just a lot of it's just unrefined. That's usually the core problem is that people just have to put in more work.
You say unrefined, although right there that combo pretty decent, gets themselves 2 magic, uses 1 right away for the magic dash to reset. But then again, there's that T-shirt. T-shirt doesn't always sound scary until you're trying to block it.
T-shirt's not bad. It's really not. It's kind of good. I like T-shirt.
No, it's not like. What do you mean, as defending it or using it as a Paprika?
Both. I think that T-shirt makes a very healthy interaction for both players while you're blocking it and while you're.
Think about it. Now, if you push block that first hit, it kind of depends on how fast they do the next hit. But if they don't do the next hit fast enough, I'm pretty sure it's punishable, right?
It can be. The problem with it is that the second hit vacuums, and it's pretty big. So I don't.
Is it the second hit then that if you push block it? Because I swear there's a hit in there that you can push block that leaves them very open. Maybe it's just how they delay the move.
Yeah, it's probably how they delayed it.
Yeah.
If I had to say, it's probably second to third, but push blocking the first to the second is kind of risky just because
it's got to be the second to the third. But unfortunately, by the time you get the second hit, is already a overhead. So.
And you don't even want to push block the third hit because you can just punish.
No, yeah. I mean, unless they try to frame trap you, so.
Yeah, and then at that point, that's fine. Take the meter. It's not that big of a deal. Usually, sometimes it's worth taking that risk to just take the frame trap because you get better damage if you just go for the punish, and maybe you'll take their meter. And if you're ahead anyway, you're kind of glad to do that.
Alright, uses the level 2 now. It doesn't go for the hard knockdown.
Oh no, he hit the broccoli!
I think actually in that situation, might have been more worth it to go for the hard knockdown.
Oh, pot. Oh, nice throw.
But they end up winning it in the end.
Super. Sorry, I'm behind. Okay, there we go. Nice.
Okay, let's see. Where are we? 552. In light of Evo, we're gonna end a little bit earlier today so that people can, if they are interested in watching Evo, as it is happening right now, watch more matches. You got still plenty of tournaments going on with BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle and DBFZ and Street Fighter 5 and all that good stuff. Smash 4, Smash Melee. We're gonna probably do only a couple more matches, and then we are going to close out. We'll close out with a couple of announcements.
Also, if people are going actually to go watch Evo, or if you weren't planning to, go watch Evo. Because
you can
watching watching the other fighting games and trying to understand the neutral and what's going on in the heads of both of the players will translate to practicing in this game. And depending on how you practice and what you really absorb from it, it's ridiculously beneficial. It doesn't even matter if you understand what's happening on the screen, as long as you can kind of grasp what's happening between the two players as they're talking in the game.
All right, Dom. I'm actually kind of interested in. I haven't seen Everett too much. I have seen Tailneck quite a bit. Never mind. Tailneck is going straight into a match. I know Everett is one of the. I think they played both Tian and Velvet now, correct?
Yeah.
Ev
plays Tian and Velvet. Ev is playing way more Velvet lately.
Velvet lately. Okay.
It looks. Amaron wanted to watch us play.
Amaron wants to watch us play.
All
right.
I think that's Amaron.
Y'all ready for a beatdown? For me to get a beatdown? Let's
Who
do
knows,
this.
man?
Who knows?
I'm no god. I drop sets too.
It's a lot harder when you're on stream and ostensibly having to talk.
That's it.
We'll actually end it with this. Hopefully it's not too bad of a performance on my end or his.
Good matches. And I'll be talking more about neutral, and you'll see way more about what I'm saying as I play, because fair enough. I've put it on the table what I'm trying to do. Control. It's all on him to move around what I'm doing. Is it a conversation or an argument? Honestly, it's more like a debate. Depending on the person you're fighting, if they're having an argument with you and you're just kind of taking the high road, you win. Because if you're thinking about it like an argument, chances are that you're probably trying to brute force the situation, and you don't want to do that. Because if you're brute forcing it, you're not thinking. So you're probably having a debate. And you want to have a debate if both of you are good players. If you want to have a good match, it's really a discussion or a debate.
We'll do one more and see if I can do anything, and then yeah, there wasn't much I could do there. I mean, I'm saying there wasn't opportunities. It's just that I'm extremely slow, so that is how it goes.
A combination of a bunch of things.
Never looked so good.
And a lot of what I'm also doing is putting fear, because I also need the fear. I need him to be afraid of a lot of the things I'm doing, because a lot of the things I'm doing help me push him to the corner. I need him to second guess things that he's doing, or else he gets the autopilot.
Here's the thing, though. You want to talk about second guessing? It's also I am not fast enough to either react or block the situation. So it's not even necessarily that I'm afraid. It's that I just can't do it reliably.
And sometimes you just get brute forced by the other player. Oh, that's my meaty. That was an unfortunate float.
Nothing is coming out the way I want it to.
I'm sorry, ears.
You lost, and you're dumb.
Ah, I've said
I think
worse.
it's
I've said worse, Astral.
I also didn't know if I could like curse during the stream or what.
It's not ideal. I'm probably actually the worst offender, unfortunately. Yeah, not. See, I didn't even mean to backdash there. I'm telling you, like, I just don't have good inputs.
Just takes a lot of work. Oh shit, that sucks. And then when you make mistakes, you just have to be okay with them. Or else, if you're not okay with the mistakes you make, or let's say you're dropping games to people you don't think you should be dropping games to, just relax. Too many people take the game way too seriously. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but it is nothing to beat yourself over, honestly. Because when you do that, you just get more and more stressed out.
You never had a chance. Oleander wins.
Yeah, what else is there to say? I know a number of you who are watching have played me. I didn't say that would be the last one. Normally I'd just be like mashing rematch right now, but there's no point right now. I can't really get in. I'm not fast enough to react right now, and part of that's a mental state, and part of that is just my either my current physical readiness, like if I haven't played yet or any of that, but you know, he's a better player. I don't know. I'm trying to say the right words here, but it's just like, why can't I do what I need to do? Actually, Dom, can you fight? Because Everett actually plays you all the time. That might, yeah, that might not be actually representative since you guys know each other, but
it will be. The ping is the worst part. The thing about Ebb is that I have to fight Ebb a very specific way, so you might see some different stuff to think about at that level. Because when it comes to Ebb and his understanding of neutral, it's really kind of residual of my understanding from neutral and personal growth from Ebb. Ebb has gotten very good, very fast, because he's made adjustments on, one, how to hold a lead better, two, his mentality. He was really, really prone to, like, shut himself down, but he's kind of fixed that mental aspect where he doesn't break down as fast. And he also knows how to abuse things better. He's way more open to abusing the things that his character can do.
Well, unfortunately, the character he chose is not my character, but we did say that Tien is kind of, I think, the first character that he played in this game. Anyways, coming in. let's see if I can actually commentate right now. I do still have salt on me. Salt on me, in me, all over me. But right now, still pretty much control on Dom's part. Got the full screen advantage, sets up the trap, floating down. He set it up high specifically such that it would be in the way longer.
Yeah, and to stop Tian from just flying at me.
Yep. It's the little wall that Oleander can do.
So he tried to tech trap me there, which is why I didn't tech. That's what he usually does. There, I can do it.
Actually, right there too, with that 5A, it looked like he tried to catch your tech.
That's another setup he does, yeah. He's surrendering the space.
Nice punish.
I'll have to take that.
Yeah, probably could have had something more optimal, but you definitely take it. Got the full screen.
I didn't land into it. I got JA. I'm dead.
Isn't that how it always starts, though? JA?
It is how it starts. It is how it always starts.
Hi, Raysol. No, you can get all the butter.
Butter.
Cause your butts. actually setting up the full wall with multiple chapter traps. And I guess I'm starting to see that the Oleander playstyle against Tianhuo is actually pretty chapter trap heavy, isn't it?
It's the only way to stop this character from mauling Oleander, honestly. Because the problem is that how do I block that? The problem is that at any moment he can get next to me, so I can't space with my buttons properly.
Yeah. So like
he can always fly over stuff, and then once he has the chance to play, it's very scary for me to press buttons.
As a result, since he has to use the one resource, he can't really do anything teleport related or magic spark related. He just has to use the wall of the traps.
Yeah. This is the safest way to make sure I don't have to deal with too many things this character does to me. Let's telegraph.
So for you Oleanders out there, think about that in this matchup. Is get your magic while you can, and then reset the situation. He's doing pretty much the same loop a lot of the time. He's getting a fireball, chapter trap, read. Fireball, chapter trap, read.
You messed up there. See, that's also an unfortunate thing that Tian has going on for her, is that sometimes even you don't know where you'll end up when you hit me. So he dropped this combo there because he couldn't account for what just happened.
It wasn't from the sub, Ray. It's not from the sub. I don't have anything left over from that.
Oh, he's waiting now. So, this is also him controlling the situation. This is bad because I don't have magic.
Well, you can be sure that he's holding a button right now, but Ebb does not drop. And one of the things about how long level 2 can last is they continue to have that oppressive, just constant flight.
Oh, the J.
Oh my god, the J. Oh, he drops. You have an opportunity. You should have gotten a hit, but you didn't.
Reset. Cool.
No, which way was that? That stupid 2-2C, it's so great. Getting the extension with the 4D. The red alley-oop.
Oh shit, he kicked it.
Oh, he's learning.
Uh-oh.
I should have muted.
Why? Why? Ebb, you idiot! Oh my god, he tried to chip kill me with Ebb. He tried to chip kill me with Bash. You moron! Get out of my face! He threw the whole match.
Did you have enough chip kill to get killed with Ash instead of Bash?
I think Bash does the most amount of chip.
Does the most. Okay. Well, I mean, there's super too, right?
Get out of my face, Ebb.
Super.
So I mean,
killed you on chip.
Yeah, super probably would have killed me there, but I also would have just ducked super.
Was that 2 matches or just the 1?
That was 2.
That was 2. Alrighty. Well, with that said, we are going to call it for today. We normally go a little bit longer, but it's not as many players. Actually, there have been pretty good players. Thanks to Robert for coming out. Good. Congratulations for winning Galacon. Thanks to Mr. Rain, Tailneck, Amaron, Zaid, Soul Hunger, Spaghetti. Who else played? Delone, Momo,
Ebb.
All the Warriors, Ebb, me, you. Thanks to Dom.
Yes.
Thank you so much for enlightening us with this very thorough discussion on Neutral. Although, of course, you can never, the discussion never ends. It's like you said, the discussion happens every time you have a fight. It's
right. And I'm also probably going to be streaming myself at some point today to expand further on Neutral. If people here want to know a little bit more with a little bit more direct type of interaction. I definitely won't be playing TFH during the stream when I talk about it as much, so it'll be way more about the concepts universally for fighting games. So if you guys want to hear that, you can come to my channel, I guess, at some point later. Maybe in an hour.
Promotion.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. By all means, of course. I'm glad you're doing well on your stream. I'll have to give you a follow and check your stuff out too. Always trying to follow.
I'm doing well on my stream. It's more so I can continue the neutral aspect, because the neutral talk, like I said, doesn't end. And what we did today, I feel like a lot of people can't really grow onto what neutral is and how to put it into their play style because it's hard to
not in just 2 hours. So like we can bring it up and make you think about it. It's like maybe you weren't thinking about it before, but now that you're thinking about it, you know, apply that thought. Even if you didn't learn, just apply the thinking every time you have a match.
Yeah. Or go watch Evo, and then think about the neutral while they're doing stuff.
Watch some of that DBFZ, because those last character situations, like there may not be always a lot of neutral, but then those last character situations where they're just throwing key blasts at each other, it can get dicey.
Yeah. Actually, what am I talking about? I'm not going to stream. You guys go watch Evo.
Yeah, let's all watch Evo. But before you do, just want to give a quick announcement. Fightin Fanatics will be hosting the Magic Series 5 at the end of August. I can't actually remember which day that is. I don't have a calendar in front of me right now, but it is going to be the last weekend for sure. So the last weekend in August, we will be doing the Magic Series 5 on a Saturday, the usual time at 4 p.m. And we do not have the challenge up just yet. We will put the challenge up by the end of the week, possibly on the on or before the next match commentary for next week.
August 25th.
Yes, August 25th. Thanks. August 25th. And let's see. Oh, and then next month is CEO Taku. Again, we are trying to put out the word that we want as many people to come as possible. We are going to. This is actually being run by Neko Crispy down in Florida. It's at the end of September. I think September 22nd, 23rd. We don't have an official time start for when our TFH tournament would start, or if we have CEO Taku is going to add us to the official lineup. But even if not, the tournament will be held as a side tournament run by Neko, and I'll be assisting. And I will be providing prizes for. It'll be raffle prizes actually. There's not currently intended to be an entry fee. So. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much more about that. That's again more Neko's side of the thing. But keep an eye out for that. And please, if you are anywhere in the area or if you're attending CEO Taku, please come out and play Fightin Hearts with us.
Yes, go do that. Go support it, even if you don't want to play in the tournament. There are a lot of people who are just there to learn. There are a lot of people who just saw the game and thought it was awesome at CEO, so they played a little bit. Even some new people in bracket.
That happens at anytime you bring it to a major fighting game tournament, they'll be like, oh, I've heard about that game.
And then they play it and they like it. There's so many people who stopped and they loved it.
Yeah, you just got to give them a moment to play it too. I'm sometimes bad about that. I'll be sitting there playing it, explaining it, blah, 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 and then I forget to hand the controller to him. So with that, that's it. That is going to be the end of our stream. Thanks everybody for coming out, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. See ya.